السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا من سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وبعد, hello brothers, how are you this week? Inshallah, going to continue the second hadith. You know, we have this little bit strange arrangement. We finished the third, but we're still on the third. We finished the third, but we're still on the second. We have a lot to say, so I'll just set a timer for 45 minutes so that we don't take long. And let's start, inshallah. Last time we finished the Iman bil Malaika, the belief in angels, and today, inshallah, we're going to start with the Al-Iman bil Kutub, an tu'mina billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sacred books. So this is the third foundation of Iman, the belief in Allah's sacred books. This includes that they were revelated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his messengers. That each messenger, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him with a message, and this message was this book and whatever other teachings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him with. Like Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was sent with Quran and Sunnah. So the first thing we need to believe in those sacred books is that they were revelated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his messengers, and that the original versions had the true knowledge and guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of those books in the original versions, of course, because we're going to mention this again, the books that were before Quran were subject to a lot of editing, translation, modification, addition, omitting. You know, they played with that or tampered with this a lot. So in the original versions, those books were compatible in belief and good manners and basic religious concepts. Some of those books superseded the previous books, as the Gospel, the Injil, superseded the Torah by permitting some of the things that were impermissible in the Torah. ومصدقا بما يدي من التوراة ولأحل لكم بعض ما حرم عليكم. So from those we need to, again, as we mentioned in the Iman bil Malaika, in the Iman in angels, that we believe in the concept and believe in what specifically was mentioned to us. So from those, similarly with the books, we believe in the concept that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent books or revelated books to his messengers, and from those books are some that we know by name. To begin with, the scriptures of Abraham, Suhuf Ibrahim alayhi salam, and the scriptures of Musa, Suhuf Musa alayhi salam, and the Torah. Are the scriptures of Musa part of the Torah or not? We can't have a definitive, decision, but as a whole, as generally, we were told about the scriptures of Musa, Suhuf Musa, and we were told about the Torah. So the Torah, as mentioned, includes this Suhuf Musa in an opinion. We can't get something, solid in that. And it also includes the tablets that Musa alayhi salam received from Allah after talking with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at Mount Sinai fi Tur. So tablets are the tablets, and Suhuf, are they part of the tablets or different than tablets? We don't know for sure, but we know that there is Suhuf Musa alayhi salam, and we know that there is a Torah, which includes the tablets that was given to him at Mount Sinai or Al-Fitur Sinai. Also, the Zabur, the Psalms of Dawood alayhi salam, wal Injil, wal Quran. So those are the books that we know by name. Sure, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent other messengers and there were other books, but we don't know about. We don't know if those are true or not. I was told before that what the Hindus have tracked back to Ibrahim alayhi salam, maybe like 2 pages and they added 4 books. Allah alam. You cannot say yes, you cannot say no, you don't know. But anyways, we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent those books with the messengers. We also believe that the Quran is the final book and it supersedes all the previous books and scriptures. So once the Quran was revealed, all those were superseded. Now the new teachings and new rulings are in the Quran. This is what is ruling now, what is enforced now. It's also the highest ranking of all of them, of all those books, because all of those books are included in the Quran and more. And also the Quran is a miracle in itself and was revelated to the final and highest ranking of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وأنزلنا إليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديه من الكتاب ومهيمنا عليه. It supersedes. It muhayminan means like controls or supersedes. What the Quran proves is correct. What it negates is negated. So that's how the Quran, as the final version or the final book from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have this upper hand on other books. So as mentioned, believing in the Torah and the Gospel, Torah and Injil, is a pillar of faith. However, we mean here the original versions that were revelated from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and not the versions that the Jews and Christians have today. As mentioned, those versions were intensely falsified, cropped, edited, changed, mixed with other texts, and translated from one language to other, to the extent that the original text is lost after all these changes, and even the remaining parts now you cannot sort it out. You cannot see it. This was part of the original revelation, and was added afterwards. They tampered with it heavily. الله سبحانه وتعالى قال أفتطمعون أن يؤمنوا لكم وقد كان فريق منهم يسمعون كلام الله ثم يحرفونه من بعد ما عقلوه وهم يعلمون. So can you believers hope that such people will believe you when some of them used to hear the words of God and then deliberately twist them even when they understood them? And in Surah Al-An'am, وما قدروا الله حق قدره إذ قالوا ما أنزل الله على بشر من شيء قل من أنزل الكتاب الذي جاء به موسى نورا وهدى للناس تجعلونه قراطيس تبدونها وتخفون كثيرا. So they just make it papers, loose paper, and they show you this one and they don't show you this one. They're tampering with it. They were not honest to be with what they got. They were assigned this task to keep Allah's subhanahu wa ta'ala book, and they totally failed. Deliberately, intentionally, they were gladly doing that, just to fulfill their own desires. So some of the problems with the existing Torah and Gospels, or the Old and New Testaments, that there is no chain of narration for any of those books or chapters to prove its attribution to the person who it's attributed to. And this is according to the Jew and Christian interpreters and scholars themselves. They don't have this sanad. No, they don't have this chain of narration. And in the text, there is a lot of discrepancies, historical mistakes, conflict between texts, and our brothers who, debate with the Christians and Jews and know that very well. It's also known as a fact that the Old Testament books that the Jews had were totally lost after Nebuchadnezzar defeated them and enslaved them and expelled them to Babylon. When they went to Babel, the Torah was lost for 50 years. And then they claimed that the priest Ezra rewrote it by inspiration in the era of Cyrus, the Persian king, who defeated the Babylonians and permitted Jews to return to Palestine at that time. And this was about 50 years later. So 50 years they don't have the Torah. And then some guy told them, yeah, okay, I got this inspiration, I'm rewriting it. So Allah, subhanAllah, this was one of the scholars these days said that this why in Surah At-Tawbah وقالت اليهود عزير ابن الله, because he actually wrote, they're following Uzair, they're not following the Torah, they're following what Uzair wrote for them.
So Uzair is not one of the prophets.
Allahu a'lam la, wallahu a'lam la. لكن if you see وقالت اليهود عزير ابن الله وقالت النصارى المسيح ابن الله يضاهئون قول الذين كفروا من قبل قاتلهم الله وأن يؤفكون اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله والمسيح ابن مريم. So the first part for the Jews and the second part for the Christians. Wallahu a'lam. I heard about this recently. You know Sami Amiri, right? Yeah, he mentioned this in one of his YouTube videos. Also, the original gospel in Injil was lost in the early days of Christianity. The original gospel was mentioned in some texts of Matthew's and Mark gospels and the letters of Paul, but there is no book, you can't find it. And also, there are the conflicts between the four gospels that were approved by the church, and you can't resolve those. There's not apparent conflict, no, this is actual conflict that cannot be resolved. Okay, so what is our position from what the people of book says or narrate? So basically now Christians or Jews can tell you, okay, we find in our books this and that. So what is our position? Where do we stand with this? First of all, if it complies with what's in Quran and Sunnah, then we accept it because we know it's correct. If it's conflicting with the Quran and Sunnah, or the Quran and Sunnah falsify this, then it's false. We know that's wrong. The third part of those where there's nothing in the Quran or Sunnah that confirms or negates this. So here, the hadith was narrated by Bukhari and reported by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, that the people of book and Ahl al-Kitab كانوا يقرؤون التوراة, used to read the Torah in Hebrew بالعبرية and explain it in Arabic to Muslims. And they would use يقرؤون التوراة بالعبرية ويحدثون المسلمين. So the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إذا حدثكم أهل الكتاب فلا تصدقوهم ولا تكذبهم وقولوا آمنا بالذي أنزل إلينا وأنزل إليكم. Don't believe or disbelieve the people of the book when they narrate to you, and say, we believe in what was revealed to us and what was revealed to you. Because it was mentioned in other hadith, you might say, okay, you might accept something that actually is wrong, or you might reject something that's actually wrong and you don't know. You have no knowledge to accept or reject, so it's just then we say that we don't agree to it, we don't reject it, and we say we believe in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed. So what about Quran? So for the Quran, believing in Quran includes that it's Allah's word for real. It's not Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam words or Angel Jibreel's words. In Surah At-Tawbah, وَإِنْ أَحَدٌ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ اسْتَجَارَكَ فَأَجِرْهُ حَتَّى يَسْمَعَ كَلَامَ اللَّهِ. If any of those idolaters should seek your protection, grant it to him, so that he may hear the word of Allah. Also, the Quran is the final book. This another thing of our belief in Quran, that is the final book to be revealed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and supersedes all the previous books and scriptures, and that it's the highest ranking of all of them, and admitting that Quran itself is a miracle, and that even if humans and jinn came together to compile a similar book, they would never be able to. قل لئن اجتمعت الجن والإنس على أن يأتوا بمثل هذا القرآن لا يأتون بمثله ولو كان بعضهم لبعض ظهيرا. ظهيرا means helper. Okay, so they cannot, even if they come together, they cannot bring or compile a book similar to the Quran. Also, we believe that this Quran that we read is the complete version of the Quran. Nothing was lost, nothing was hidden. It's a complete version, and the whole Quran that the Prophet ﷺ left us when he died. Nothing was forgotten nor lost, nothing was omitted or added, and that the Quran reached us by continuously recurrent narrations, al-riwayat al-mutawatira. Inshallah, we'll talk about this continuous recurrent narrations, riwayat al-mutawatira, on another majlis when we talk about hadith and types of hadith and so on. But in short, those at-tawatur mean that it was narrated by a big number of people, about a huge number of people, about a big number of people, so that it makes it impossible for them to mistake in it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال إنا نحن نزلنا الذكر وإنا له الحافظون. وإنا له الحافظون. So we have sent, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Hijr, we have sent down the Quran ourselves and we ourselves will guard it. So that's why we say that this is a complete version, the whole, was nothing missing or lost. So the Quran also, since it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's Allah's words, it doesn't contradict, there's no contradiction in the Quran between the ayahs or between the Quran and the authentic Sunnah. أفلا يتدبرون القرآن ولو كان من عند غير الله لوجدوا فيه اختلافا كثيرا. As a side note, some ayahs might seem contradicting. You might think that there are some different, or some ayahs prove something and other ayahs negate it. So this is what ulama name mushkil al-Quran. And then a lot of scholars, wrote books regarding this matter. From this, Imam Ahmad has a book on that. What was his name? الرد على الزنادقة والجهمية فيما تأوله من مشكل القرآن. And Imam Ibn Qutayba had the book Mushkil al-Quran. And from this time, or from the recent days or modern times, you have Sheikh al-Shanqiti rahimahullah ta'ala. He has دفع هام الاضطراب عن محكم أي الكتاب. So another thing that we believe about Quran is that it's directed to every human or jinn since the message of the Prophet ﷺ till the end of days. In Surah Al-An'am, وَأُوحِيَ إِلَيَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنُ لِأُنذِرَكُمْ بِهِ وَمَنْ بَلَغَ. So this Quran was revealed to me, or for me, to warn you people and everyone it reaches. Also, the Quran is the main source of the Islamic knowledge and ruling, and that the Quran refers to other sources like the Sunnah, as in Surah Al-Imran, قُلْ أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولَ فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْكَافِرِينَ. Say, obey Allah and the Messenger, but if they turn away, then God doesn't like the disbelievers. Also, the Quran was not revelated as one revelation. Rather, it was revelated over the period of 23 years, the period of the message of the Prophet ﷺ. As in Surah Al-Furqan, وقال الذين كفروا لولا نزل عليه القرآن جملة واحدة كذلك لنثبت به فؤادك الله أكبر. لا، وقال الذين كفروا لولا أنزل عليه هذا لولا أنزل عليه القرآن جملة واحدة كذلك لنثبت فؤادك ورتلناه ترتيلا ولا يأتونك بمثل إلا جئناك بالحق وأحسن تفسيرا. So in Surah Al-Furqan, the disbelievers also say, why would the Quran not send down to him all at once? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we sent it in this way to strengthen your heart, and we gave it to you in gradual revelation. ممكن تشوفها لنا لو سمحت؟ Also, the reading of Quran, reciting Quran, is a form of worship which is generously rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu reported that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam called, whoever reads a letter from Allah's book, he is rewarded by one hasana, or good deed. And every hasana is rewarded 10 times. I do not say alif, lam, mim, a letter, but alif is a letter, lam is a letter, and mim is a letter. Also, the final thing, the Quran must be glorified and respected. Inshallah, in the hadith of Ad-Din al-Nasiha, lillahi wa li rasulihi wa li kitabi, we'll mention some of the etiquette with the Quran. So this is with regards to the belief in the sacred books. The fourth foundation of Iman is belief in Allah's Messenger subhanahu wa ta'ala. وصلت حاجة أحمد؟ طيب. Believe in Allah's Messenger subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the messengers and the prophet to the people and gave them the sacred books we just talked about and supported them with miracles. The first messenger, who was the first messenger? No. Okay, so this gets a little bit tricky. If you look that Adam alayhi salam was the first person, first man, and he was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he had the rulings that he taught himself and that he followed himself and teach his wife and children. So we say that he's a prophet and a messenger. But in Surah An-Nisa, إِنَّا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ كَمَا أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى نُوحٍ وَالنَّبِيِّينَ مِن بَعْدِ. So this, again, this is back to what we said, might be a little bit mushkil, but to understand this, we know that Nuh alayhi salam is the first prophet after shirk happened, after disbelief happened, and associating God with Allah happened. But Adam alayhi salam was a prophet for sure. But was he a messenger or not? Most probably yes, he was a messenger. I know some of the scholars say no, Nuh was a prophet, first messenger, and it's non-negotiable. But this makes more sense because between Adam and Nuh there were 10 generations, we're going to mention that, and they were all on Tawheed. And then when shirk happened, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Nuh alayhi salam. Yeah.
What's the Arabic word for prophet and messenger?
So the prophet is Nabi, messenger is Rasul. Okay? ورتلناه ترتيلا. الله يبارك فيك. سبحان الله. كذلك لنثبت به فؤادك ورتلناه ترتيلا. طيب. This is what I want to mention now. What is the difference between a prophet and a messenger? فرق بين النبي والرسول. A prophet is the person who received revelation, and if he is ordered to deliver this revelation, then it's a messenger. He's a messenger. Okay, so this is the first opinion to differentiate between a prophet and the messenger. So they say that the prophet who received revelation from Allah, he was not told, okay, go preach this or go teach people this revelation. And the messenger, the one who got this revelation and was told, okay, go deliver this message to the people. This is the first opinion. Okay? And actually a lot of scholars adopt this opinion. But this opinion is kind of debatable. And the other opinion that is inshallah stronger is that the prophet is both a prophet and a messenger are ordered to deliver this revelation. But the prophet has a message, or the message that the wahy or the revelation that the prophet gets is still in the range of a previous messenger. Okay? Like after Musa alayhi salam, Banu Israel got a lot of prophets. They were still following the Torah and telling the people to follow Torah and abide by the rules of Torah, what Musa alayhi salam was sent with. So Musa alayhi salam was a messenger, was a Rasul. And then there were prophets in Bani Israel till Isa alayhi salam came.
Just a clarification question, like, is there a reference to know, like, if the specific prophet is, like, I mean, based on maybe like hadith or something else, to say, for example, that Joseph was a prophet, not a messenger, or something like this, or just a classification came from the ulama themselves?
No, if you follow it, if you see it, for example, you'll find Yusuf alayhi salam, and sometimes it takes some,
I know he's prophet, but
yeah,
just
I don't know. I know, because this is a good question actually. So Yusuf alayhi salam was a prophet, and he said, وَاتَّبَعْتُ مِلَّةَ آبَائِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْحَاقَ وَيَعْقُوبَ مَا كَانَ لَنَا أَن نُشْرِكَ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. So this is Yusuf alayhi salam. But when even what he worked with, what he did in Egypt, it seemed that it was following the message or the teachings of Yaqub alayhi salam. Because when he took his brother as a slave, and this thing that he did, ما كان ليأخذ أخاه في دين الملك إلا أن يشاء الله. So what was happening there was not what he was working of or following. He was having this position. He had this control about this thing, only this thing. Of course, he taught whoever or the people in Egypt the true religion, as the مؤمن آل فرعون ولقد جاءكم يوسف من قبل بالبينات فما زلتم في شك مما جاءكم به حتى إذا هلك قلتم لن يبعث الله من بعده رسولا. But did he get a separate message for the Egyptians or not? There's nothing solid that we can say yes or no. Okay, so the thing is that we're trying to understand, scholars try to understand and try to see, because as a general rule, a messenger is a higher rank than a prophet. Okay, on whether we say this is, or whether we say the first opinion or the second opinion, it's always the Rasul is a higher rank. And anyways, you are following the Prophet Muhammad or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and you don't have a choice in that. That's it. Okay, so we said that the second opinion, which is stronger actually, that a prophet got this revelation and was ordered to follow a message or teaching of a previous messenger, and then he makes da'wah to people or preach this previous message, as we mentioned, the prophets of Bani Israel, and that the Rasul comes with new teaching. Even Isa alayhi salam, when he came and revoked some parts of the Torah with new teachings. And this second opinion is actually more supported.
By new teaching, mean like new revelation, or it doesn't need to be like gospel, for example? Like, does it have to have gospel, like Bible, Torah?
Something like that. So basically, Ibrahim alayhi salam is a Rasul, we know that, or a messenger. Ismail alayhi salam is a messenger. Yaqub alayhi salam is a messenger. And we know for sure that Musa alayhi salam is a messenger. Isa alayhi salam is a messenger. Muhammad alayhi salam is a messenger. So we know that for sure. And you see that every one of those is a milestone. So Musa alayhi salam came with the Torah. And then after him, all the way, there is no book, maybe only the Zabur of Dawood, but to my understanding, the Zabur was not regulations or not orders. It was more. No, it was not. It was not a new law. It was more like supplications and adhkar and stuff like that. Not new teachings.
So, for example, you said like Ishmael was a
Yeah.
messenger, right?
Yeah,
So-
and it was for the Arabs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, does he have like a book or something like that?
Allah, we don't know. but in سورة مريم واذكر في الكتاب إسماعيل إنه كان صادق الوعد وكان رسولا نبيا وكان يأمر أهله بالصلاة والزكاة وكان عند ربه مرضيا. Okay, so it's clear that he was a Rasul. Okay. We said that this second opinion is more supported with the ayat, like in Surah Al-Hajj. وما أرسلنا من قبلك من رسول ولا نبي إلا إذا تمنى ألقى الشيطان في أمنيته فينسخ الله ما يلقي الشيطان ثم يحكم الله آياته والله عليم حكيم. So we have never sent any messenger or prophet before you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that he sent a messenger and sent a prophet. Okay. Okay. So why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send the prophets or messengers? This is something that we need to think about. So first thing is to educate people. Again, there's a manifestation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lordship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a Rabb. He didn't just created people and just left them alone. No. He sent them, the prophets and messengers, to teach them. Even in the early stages of humanity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those messengers taught some, some artifacts or sana'at. Yeah. Some crafts and stuff like that. So people or humans were just not left to just, try their luck and just live on trial and error. No, they were guided. And the more humans get mature, the less intervention happens. And then it's more about the law and worship, not about what to do. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with Dawood alayhi salam, وَعَلَّمْنَاهُ صَنْعَةَ لَبُوسٍ لَكُمْ لِتُحْصِنَكُم مِّن بَأْسِكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught him how to make those vests, those metallic vests, and how to make those small rings so that they are light and more, like tactical. You can move better them instead of having one big sheet of metal on your chest. So this was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ships, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Nuh alayhi salam how to build the ship, and so on. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent those messengers to educate people and show the people how to worship Allah. وما أرسلنا من قبلك من رسول إلا نوحي إليه أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدون. So you need to worship Allah, and worship Allah by the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands you. You just don't worship Him out of your own mind. Another thing, those prophets and messengers were sent to be role models in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and practicing the religion. And this is the main reason why all prophets and messengers were human. If they were angels, this is an angel, I cannot do the same. No, this is a human just like you. And he's worshipping Allah and he's doing this and that. So follow him, follow his steps. Another thing is to end the people's excuse. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Nisa, رُسُلًا مُبَشِّرِينَ وَمُنذِرِينَ لِأَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حُجَّةٌ بَعْدَ الرُّسُلِ. They were messengers bearing good news and warnings so that mankind would have no excuse before God once the messengers have been sent. With Surah Al-Isra, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. Nor do we punish until we have sent a messenger. Another thing, to judge between people in what they disagreed upon. In Surah Al-Baqarah, كان الناس أمة واحدة فبعث الله النبيين مبشرين ومنذرين وأنزل معهم الكتاب ليحكم بين الناس فيما اختلفوا فيه. So mankind was a single community. كان الناس أمة واحدة. Then God sent prophets to bring good news and warnings, and with them He sent scriptures with the truth to judge between people in their disagreements. As we mentioned before in the scriptures or the books, that they all had the same message in when it comes to Tawheed, when it comes to monotheism. Also, all prophets were sent with the same message to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone and believe in the judgment day. وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. And many ayahs لا إله إلا الله اعبدوا الله وارجوا اليوم الآخر ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين. So to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone and believe in the judgment day. So some of the prophets, and again as we mentioned with the angels and with the books about the prophets and messengers, we need to believe in the concept as a concept and believe in those who are named by name. And 25 of those messengers and prophets were mentioned in the Quran. 18 of them were mentioned in Surah Al-An'am and the 7 in other places. The 7 rest on other places, which shortly they are Adam, Idris, Nuh, Hud, Salih, Ibrahim, Lut, Ismail, Ishaq, Yaqub, Yusuf, Ayub, Shu'aib, Musa, Harun, Yunus, Dawood, Sulaiman, Ilyas, Ilyasa, Dal-Kifl, Zakaria, ويحيى وعيسى ومحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أجمعين.
Were there any messengers that we don't know about?
Yeah, for sure.
Not just prophets, like messengers. With
For sure. For sure. So if you see those messengers were all in the area of Sham, Arabia, Yemen, Egypt, this area. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't create the people and just let them and leave them alone. No. وَمَا مِنْ أُمَّةٍ إِلَّا خَلَى فِيهَا نَذِيرٌ. There is no nation except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them someone to warn them. And وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنِ اعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ. In each nation there was a messenger sent. But for example, for Arabs in Arabia, there was only, especially after in the later eras, after Ibrahim alayhi salam, that was Ismail, and all the way till Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salam. In Sham there were a lot more than that.
in the Quran ورسل قصصنا عليك ورسل
أيوة الله يفتح عليك ورسلا قد قصصناهم عليك ورسلا لم نقصصهم عليك. And there are messengers that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't tell us about.
الحديث في 300 أكثر من 300 رسول و124 نبي ايش بتسمى؟
Yes, as far as I remember, it's authentic. Yeah, it was 300 messengers and 124,000 prophet. And Abu Dhar said that's a lot. Jammun Ghafir. And Nabi Aisam said Jammun Ghafir. Naam, Jammun Ghafir. There were a lot. And so this is the thing, we follow what we know, and we don't know, we leave this knowledge to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu a'lam. So some of those people that you never know, Christians ended up worshipping Jesus or Isa alayhi salam. You don't know, was Buddha a prophet and then his followers got just worship them later? Allahu a'lam. You never know. You can't say yes or no. Okay, we said that from the messenger there are 5 who are called Ulul Azmi min ar-Rusul, the messengers of firm resolve, for their tenacity in preaching Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala message. They faced the most hardship from their nations and were persistent and patient in their tasks. They are Nuh alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Isa alayhi salam, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam alayhim ajma'in. And those, just if you think about those, Nuh alayhi salam kept calling his nation for 950 years. If you call someone to do something, if you give someone advice 2 or 3 times, you get bored and you just, okay, go burn in hell. I don't care, No, he kept doing the same thing 950 years. Ibrahim alayhi salam was thrown in the fire, was ordered to slaughter his own child or his elder child. This was a lot. Musa alayhi salam suffered with Bani Israel. You cannot imagine what they did. You just, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed them the ayat. This sea was split and they crossed the sea, and then it was turned back, collapsed over Fir'aun and killed him, and then they asked to have an idol just afterward. So imagine what's happening with those. So those messengers, alayhim as-salatu was-salam, ulul azm, they suffered a lot. They had this huge or faced the most hardships for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So prophets and messengers are also human beings. They are not gods or part gods or have any attributes of God. They eat food, they get married, they get sick, they sleep, they die. Some of them were even killed, like Yahya alayhi salam. They were not divine in any means. They are simply humans who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them this revelation and order them to deliver it to people. As in Surah Al-Furqan, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا قَبْلَكَ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ إِلَّا إِنَّهُمْ لَيَأْكُلُونَ الطَّعَامَ وَيَمْشُونَ فِي الْأَسْوَاقِ. No messenger have we sent before you who didn't eat food or walk about in the marketplace. So this was normal humans, except that they get this revelation. But this prophethood, being a Nabi, is not something attainable. It's not something that you get by practicing, or by meditating, or by studying, or by treating people good and being generous and doing such and such. No, it's merely a selection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah yastafi min al-malaikati rusulan wa min al-nas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses messengers from amongst angels and among men. And additionally, after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salam, it became impossible for anyone to be a prophet. The prophethood was ended, sealed, that's it. As Islam is a concluding revelation, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last of all prophets. So now it's about 43 minutes, and the next topic is the qualifications of prophethood, and this has there's some discussion there. So do you want to go through it, or do you want to have it next week? Whatever. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Sorry, I cannot hear you.
Prophet Isa and his return.
Yeah, Prophet Isa is return. He's going to return and rule by the religion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and even he's going to revoke those three things we're going to mention later. But we know this because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, and he told us that he's going to do this with you. So when he's coming this time, he'll be a follower of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not a new prophet. But he's still alive, yeah. In a way that we don't understand how or know how, but he's still alive. Like, بَرَّفَعَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ. But how? Allahu A'lam. Is he hibernating, if it's proper to say, or just slept and was raised? Were he raised as is? Allahu A'lam. But we know for sure that he was not killed, he was not crucified. This is something. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. We know, and then other وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ يَقِينًا. So we know that he was not crucified or killed. Know this for sure. And we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised him to a place, and that he will be coming back. We know this for sure. But how would this nature of this, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took him up or elevated him, or we don't know. But certainly he was not killed. Okay? So, do you want to finish now this 45 minutes and keep it like that? Okay. So, next time, inshallah, we're going to continue with the Iman and with the qualifications of the prophets and the miracles, and a short timeline for the prophets and the main milestones. Then we're going to talk about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his miracles and his rights and so on. And we'll continue from there. Any questions? تفضل.
Question always bothering me,
تفضل.
which is, what is the criteria of sending a messenger or prophet at any time? Is it because people are not following maybe the message of Allah or so? Because, for example, our prophet is the final prophet, that's why. And as well, as you mentioned, like from Ismail until we didn't have like any messengers. But you mentioned like there are other messengers maybe ancient.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
do you
So
know it just
yeah, basically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created humans to worship Him, and as long as they're following this general ruling or the message, they don't need a new prophet. Okay, so basically it's a continuously repeating cycle. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a prophet or messenger, people follow him, and people don't. In the earliest time, those who didn't were just eradicated or just tormented or just finished, and then it's only those believers who over time deviate from the right deed, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would send them a new prophet just to put them back on track. And some of them will accept the prophet, some of them will not, and so on. It goes continuously like that. After, and this is going to mention next time, after Musa alayhi salam, it was not like that. No, there will not be a general eradication of disbelievers. No, it's not this anymore. Now, as humans, you are mature enough to defend yourself. You are mature enough to preach yourself. You're mature enough to make this decisions, make this tactics, so that you're not going to face. You have to face evil by yourself. Now you're actually fighting this war. You're actually fighting this evil. Okay? Those who are disbelievers are not going to be diminished or removed. No. Now you have to live with this situation. You're mature enough so that you can sort your things out, start dealing with this situation. It's now your duty to call them to Islam, and duty to protect yourself and protect Islam. I'm talking starting from Musa alayhi salam. Okay, if you after the last one who was had this torment or punishment was Fir'aun, and after Fir'aun, that's it. When they crossed, okay, you want the Holy Land, go fight and get it. That's it. When there is a child, when he's small, when he's young or little, you help him, you will give him, you buy him his stuff, and then at a certain point, no, I'm going to give you what you need, and you have to do it by yourself. You're mature enough now. So this is what happened. And after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was this stage that, okay, we're going to send you the final messenger with the complete revelation that's suitable for you, that you have to follow till the end of days, because it's complete, and the nature of the message itself, that it can be used any place, anytime, because it has this flexibility and wide lines, or this, you have these constraints, and then in between you can do what you want, but just don't cross this border, don't cross this border, and in this space in the middle you can do whatever you want, and you're ordered to think, find out, invent new ways for everything, for your life, to deliver this message, to protect yourself, to do everything. Now it's in your hands. This is now your new assignment. Okay. As for the numbers of prophets, it was Allah yarhamul Shaykh al-Sha'rawi rahimahullah mentioned. He was say that when you have someone who is sick, have like a simple flu or light flu, and then one doctor needs to see him. Okay, take these 2 pills and just rest for a little bit, will be good. But when you have a lot of doctors seeing you at once, you have a big problem. And this was actually what was happening with Bani Israel. They had huge problems. They were killing the prophets. What else do you want them to do? You know, don't fish on Saturday. Okay, I'm going to put the net on Friday and put it on Sunday. They were not. I was telling you, Musa alayhi salam suffered with them. You know, just imagine Musa alayhi salam, when he met the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Isra al Mi'raj, he told him no. He didn't want the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to. He wanted, when it reached to 5 prayers, he told him no, go back and talk with Allah. Your nation cannot do that, because he tried Bani Israel with 3 prayers and they couldn't keep it up. So this is. I hope this makes it a little bit more clear for you.
Yeah, it makes us except for the era before Prophet Muhammad.
Yes.
I think there are maybe 5 generations who was associating other gods with Allah, and Prophet Muhammad was sent maybe 5 generations.
Yeah.
So I was wondering why.
So, when actually this complete abandoning, or the what you call, when they totally out of religion, how many years before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? You cannot just pin a point and say it was 100 years, it was 200 years. You cannot just make this. It was estimated.
I have heard something regarding this, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
it's like 200 years or something, and normally 200 years in the age of nation is nothing.
Yeah, I remember there's a hadith mentioning some specific man.
Yeah, Amr ibn al-Hayy. Okay, so this devil, or this shaitan, he made this in the Arab world, but before that they were generally following Ibrahim alayhi salam's religion and Ismail alayhi salam's religions, because till the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent, they were still making this ghusl from janaba, they were still making hajj, they were still doing a lot of charity. When they rebuilt the Kaaba, they didn't want to put any money from riba or prostitution. They were aware of what they're doing, but they just associated those idols with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they needed to be put back on track. And if you see the history, and when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was actually sent, it's a strange timing. It's really, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you did the best. You cannot find a better timing for Rasulullah to be sent. Even on the worldwide events, on what was happening, even on the east or at the west, or this war between the Persians and the Romans, and what was happening at Medina, and what was happening. There was a lot happening that was just paving the way for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to come. And just also between Isa alayhi salam and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, those 600 years, Isa alayhi salam, after he was escalated or raised to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, still had some of his companions who actually preached Tawheed for some time, until things were totally, till those, after this, fighting between them and those who said that he was God or Son of God or whatever, till this battle, finished. It was maybe 250 years, 300 years before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, do you remember this مجمع نقية؟ كان سنة كام؟ 300 حاجة صح؟ So it's about 200 years before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's still, it's a short period. The thing also, so just this we're going to mention this next time inshallah, but briefly. Isa alayhi salam, when he was raised, this was an important milestone, that the prophethood and the messengers was taken away from this branch, from this bloodline. You're not, what else do you want? You know, you have you in the same time you want to kill 3 prophets. You want to kill Zakaria, Yahya, and Isa. You want to do this at the same time. You want to get this Zakaria Isa to cut him in half with this saw, and Yahya Isa, you want to cut his head for a prostitute, and then you want to kill Isa Isa. No, it's done. It's over. It's over for you. You took your chance, and you took a lot of chances. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was very, very, very merciful with them. But they just lost it. And then they knew that there was coming a prophet. And when he came from the bloodline of Ismail Islam, they rejected him for this reason. No, we're not following. They said, okay, we accepted that it's not from this, bloodline. In the bloodline, you have this bloodline of Ishaq Islam. If not the sons of this person and the son of the other one, if not from the Lawiz, from the other guys, we're okay as long as it's this branch of the family. But to be totally taken away from us and going to the Arabs who are, sons of Ismail, it's not coming back to us. We're stripped of it. So that was some of the. That was why they had this envy. They had hasad and hiqd on the Muslims and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, yeah.
This ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إن الذين يكفرون بآيات الله ويقتلون النبيين بغير الحق ويقتلون الذين يأمرون بالقسط من الناس فبشرهم بعذاب أليم. What type of qital? Is it qital like they killed the prophet?
يقتلون, killed him. I'm just telling you now.
Who is prophet? Who have been killed in those prophets?
I've just mentioned 2 now. Zakaria alayhi salam and Yahya alayhi salam.
There is also proof in the Quran.
For what?
In the Quran.
In the Quran it's mentioned that they killed the Anbiya.
No, this because in the Quran many places which when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned qital, it's like fighting.
No.
But he
Okay.
mentioned like qital.
Okay, so there is قتل يقتل and يقتلون for the plural is for the act of killing. قاتل is the fighting. Okay, so قاتل يقاتل is fighting, but يقتل is killing. But okay, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recorded something on them. وقولهم إنا قتلنا المسيح عيسى ابن مريم رسول الله. They're bragging about it. They're bragging that they killed Isa alayhi salam. وما قتلوه وما صلبوه ولكن شبه لهم. Subhanallah. So even if they didn't do that, but they're bragging, they killed this guy, right? So subhanallah, they brag about killing Rasul. And see, of when they said قالوا إن قتل المسيح عيسى ابن مريم رسول الله, it might be meaning that it was them mocking him. He's like saying Rasulullah, allegedly Rasulullah, they're saying like this, and then we killed him. But they knew that he was Rasul, and they intentionally tried to kill him. أو كلما جاءكم رسول بما لا تهوى أنفسكم استكبرتم ففريقا كذبتم وفريقا تقتلون. When the prophets came with them with what they didn't like, they were too arrogant to the extent that some of them they just reject. No, you're a liar. They didn't accept them, and some of them they actually killed. So it's recorded them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proved that they killed Anbiya. But as I was mentioning, it was in the hadith narration that Zakaria alayhi salam and Yahya alayhi salam was killed, and it might be about Yahya alayhi salam. It might be deducted from Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called him Yahya, لم نجعل له من قبل سميا, and Yahya means living, and there is no complete life except for the shaheed. So he was killed, so he became a prophet and a shaheed, so he has this complete life. It can be deducted. It's probable, not set in stone. You know what I mean saying?
Did Ibrahim come with a book?
Yes, we mentioned it was in هذا في الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى.
What was it called?
We know صحف إبراهيم. We don't know what else he had or another name for it. Okay, are we? Yeah.
So, with Muhammad sallallahu
Alayhi
alayhi
salatu
wasallam,
wasalam.
the Prophet who has been seen, the Prophet who has been seen.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, is the whole Ummah al-Muslima responsible for spreading the word of Islam?
Yeah.
Or who?
Yeah, the Ummah of Muslims. So this is a Muslim now. It's the responsibility of the Muslim nation to spread this word, to spread Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's message. Okay, everyone does what he can. Someone cannot do anything. Someone can just pay 5 cents to print a pamphlet. That's all what he can do. Someone can actually go and and research and prepare material for debate and discussion. Someone can do nothing except for about telling people, okay, I don't know anything, but if you want, just hear those guys, or hear this sheikh, or see this YouTube channel, or whatever. So everyone, to the extent that he can, and believe me, we are all not do. I'm not saying all. Most of us, or a lot of us, are not doing what we can. We're doing, or some of us are doing, but we're not doing the full potential. We're not making the full. We're not doing the full that we can. We're just giving bits and pieces. So, and of course, as I tell you, but of course, it's as a person you can do so much. It's not like when there was an actual Muslim nation that was taking this task on its shoulder and actually actively preaching this Islam. So just imagine if the Sahaba radiallahu anhum just stayed in Medina, most probably wouldn't have been sitting here today. Okay?
Especially in this Sunday, some brothers give dawah every Saturday. Everyone wants to-
Alhamdulillah. Yeah.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah, if you want to join brothers, it's a good opportunity.
Give dawah.
Yeah.
Allah told us to give dawah.
Yeah.
You don't need to go anywhere else.
If someone wants to join, please join. It's and you don't think big. Start small. Start with the smallest thing you can. Just even if you're going to go and just set up an umbrella, and this is what you can do. Just start small and get and add little bit by little bit, and you'll do something. This is totally out of topic, but this is what I was talking about. I don't remember so. The power of habit. If you're doing one small thing repeatedly, is going to accumulate to a big thing at the end. Okay. Alhamdulillah.
Is it possible if you can give me the piece of that hadith of those messengers who have been killed? باللغة العربية يعني إذا كان ممكن.
Okay, inshallah, I remember and get it for you, inshallah. بإذن الله.
جزاك الله خير.
الله يرحمه.
عروة بن زبير.
هم؟
حديث عروة بن زبير.
وشو؟
في حديث عروة بن زبير عن أحمد يعني.
صلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا.